information shouldn't be hidden or a big surprise. But also you gotta think, they don't teach us these things in sex ed or in school when we're in school in sex education. So why do you think they want to keep this information hidden from us? Well, first, every woman that sleeps with a man, no matter who they are, they literally become like them, become one in flesh. It's because it's a sacred thing to do with somebody. And that's why it's very important to stay sacred to yourself until you are ready to be married and committed, because that's a commitment. That is marriage. And it's a very powerful thing. And that's why we have things called soul ties and soul bonds. And it's not a joke. The sperm cells also travel up to the woman's brain. And then that's how she starts to think like him, even breathe like him, literally. Like, you become one with this man, with every man. And whoever your mom slept with in the past is, you get your personality from too. So if your mom slept with multiple men, have multiple baby fathers, you have the personality of the past men in the past that she slept with. And women absorb things because we receive and what men give. That's why you want to be very, very, very sacred with even what you eat, what you breathe, who you're around, because you literally become what you receive and what you choose, or maybe not even choose, to absorb sometimes. Women who have multiple men's DNA inside of them also as well become crazy because they have so many different personalities and imprints on them, so many different breeds inside of them. So it says, to simplify this, is that it means that a woman will become an amalgamation of every man with whom she has sexual intercourse. A woman will begin to develop the traits and characteristics, both physically and mentality, of the man who has ejaculated inside of her, then passes these imprints on to her children. This damaging form of microchirism results from the flow of genetic material that is carried by a man's sperm after ejaculation during sexual intercourse. Sperm breaks the blood barrier of the uterus and it goes up to the brain, where it finds its way into the nuclei of the neurons. It says the neurons are then subject to the process known as genetic recombination, in which the cells are forever altered in favor of the genetic material being carried by the sperm, which means it cannot be changed. For this reason, a man shall forever leave both his father and his mother and forever be joined by his wife, and two shall become one flesh.
Okay. Kind of just gives the reason why a woman's body count matters. Because you don't know. This woman could be crazy due to all that bonding, they were doing during sex. I don't agree with sex being marriage. That's what I don't agree with the person about that. But all that bonding, bonding, breaking up. This is why the body count matters. Okay. So let me just read you this article that I found about it. The Y chromosome DNA in women's vagina samples as a biomarker of recent vaginal sex and condom use with male partners in the Hitch cohort study. The Y chromosome DNA from male amphibolial and sperm cells are detected in the vaginal samples after unprotected sex in experimental studies. We assess the strength of this association in observational setting to examine the utility of Y chromosome DNA as a biomarker of recent sexual behaviors in epidemiological studies. Methods: the Hitch cohort study enrolled 502 women attending a university or college in Montreal, Canada, and their male partners from 2005 to 2010. Participants completed self-administered questionnaires. We used real-time PCR to test women's baseline vaginal samples for Y chromosome DNA, and as such, which sexual behaviors were independent predicators of Y chromosome DNA positivity and quantity with logistic and negative binomial regression. The results: Y chromosome DNA positivity decreased from 77% in women and partners reporting vaginal sex 0 to 1 days ago, 13% in women in partnerships reporting last vaginal sex 15 days ago. Adjusted odds ratio 0.09, 95% CI, 0.02-0.36. The mean proportion of exfoliated vaginal sample cells with Y chromosome DNA was much lower for women who reported always using condoms than for women who reported never using condoms, 2.07%. Adjusted ratio 26.8, 95% CI, 8.9-80.5. No association was found with reported oral digital sex frequency or concurrency of partnerships. Conclusion: Y chromosome DNA quantity is strongly associated with days since the last vaginal sex, and lack of condom use is observational. In observational settings, Y chromosome DNA quantity may prove useful as a correlate of recent vaginal sex and observational studies lacking DNA on sexual behavior, such as surveillance studies of human papillomavirus infection prevalence. That's the HPV. With that, let me see about. Hold on 1 minute, Chaos Rain. I see you there. Stop the music. Okay. Unmute.
That's
Hey,
good. That's good. Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
That sound good?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So, what do you think about the live stream?
My thing is this: that was our proven. Last time I checked, years ago, I heard about the connection of soul ties when every time a man leaves a piece of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just the physical; it's the genetic side of things. And the problem with the modern woman, because she is sexually liberated for last going on almost 50 years, at best, that what has happened is now you are going to be mentally crazy. And there are some studies, and people can find it, of the effects of prostitution when a woman does it for a lengthy period of time. She gets mentally crazy in the head because she's taking a man's essence, regardless she doesn't want to believe it or not. You are taking some essence. You damn sure take an essence, especially if you're getting paid by a man that's paying you a lot of money for one night fling. And besides worrying about sexually transmitted disease, STDs, that will be the end result of it. You also got to remember your mental health is going to be in jeopardy. Look at all these female content creators on YouTube. They have certain vitriol towards men or black men, what you want to call it, in general. Is a lot of them, if you listen to some of their content and listen when they're in panels with other content creators, they will reveal themselves that there should not be no connection when it comes to sex. I remember a particular content creator said that women were more polygamous than men, and that women never really operate under polygamy when a man can have his way with multiple women. In her mind, she feels that she herself is a polygamist as well and have many partners with men. Now, when you hear a woman talk that shit, you conclude she is an ill, sick bitch. You get me? That
Pretty
she's
much
been
because we're talking about when I'm just gonna put this out here. When a person has a lot of partners, all right, it could lead to damage. It could damage you. Yeah. It's just a fact. And for women especially, because they're the ones that we receive, right?
Yes.
So when they receive and let's say they had a relationship, it goes bad. Can you fix the echo? Is there a way to fix that echo?
Hold on. Let me go on that device.
Yeah, there's an echo there. Okay. Yeah, when a woman, since they receive her, they can face a lot of damage because all that bonding and ripping, bonding and tearing apart of the relationship, whatever bond they had, that affects their psyche. And a lot of women don't want to accept that. And that is the problem, because with the sexual liberation movement, I mean, you already know about men. Men have too many partners. It can damage a man as well. They could turn into deviants or serial killers, like you see with Ted Bundy. and Sam Little. You can see with that, like even like, but you don't see it's never talked about with the women, and even with the Sam Little. Okay, his mother was a prostitute, right? And all that ripping and bonding, and then she just give him up, as a baby, and that had an effect on him. He became a serial killer. All right, can you hear me, Chaos Rain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm jumping on my computer because I think with StreamYards, like I said, it's not good with the phone. I don't have this issue with Zoom, but with the phone, it's always echoes. So give me 1 minute. I'm also on the other device. As I pull this up, just to be brief, come on, logging on now, is that let's think about this. There's something they call oxytocin. A woman has
Yes.
to have the ability
Yes.
to bond with a mate.
Yes.
So where does this play when you're no longer a virgin? Let's say something happened to misfortune and it was taken. Okay. You if you have respectful parents, most likely a single mother, on the average, could ask for our community compiles or any other community. Let's say if it goes there, you go out to get some mental treatment to go through what you have gone through, and it will take time. The time is your best friend with the proper treatment that you'll come over this. Now, with the treatment itself, depending on how fast you catch it, at a certain age when it happened or whatever, now you're able to control yourself if nothing has occurred in regards you create a certain tasteful lust. And we all know when someone is multiply getting violated, and that's right for people that don't understand what that means, that you're going to grow a desire and taste for it. And anytime if you do engage in this act, you want your partner to engage the same thing because you've been violated to the extent more times that your body doesn't feel comfortable in orgasm. You get me? Or it never been orgasm. So, like I said, the mental health is a necessity for every person that they should be taking, especially if they gotten taken advantage like that, or if they were just, very loose by having sex with more than one man a year. I'll tell you a story, radio, that I know. I talked to one chick and she had like roughly over 100 partners throughout her teenage and adult life total. And I'm thinking, say, there's the problem. You get me? That means no man is going to really commit to you, much as you're not going to feel committed to one man if we want to go there, because your oxytocin is completely shattered.
Right.
It's shattered. So now, not so you can't have an orgasm, but the likely chance you staying with a man, even if a man marries you and he might fulfill something, you're not going to be satisfied because you've been fucked out.
Pretty much,
so,
yeah.
So when with a lot of women today, modern women, that's pushing back because they think they're sexually liberated and they could have many options. No, you have many options to engage in more dick juggling. That's what I meant pressing this with a lot of women today. Even the big man himself pressing it as well. That ladies, you got to make a decision. You get me? You can't say you want a fair, decent life or even best life, and you have not corrected your sexual lust and your problems on the other side. Because let's be honest, with promiscuity will come babies and will come a lot of problems if not careful. Now, some women might not have no babies, or some women say they've been single. Yeah, you've been single, but you're also been juggling dicks. And I'm not talking the one you have in your drawer.
Yeah, but so, you talk about this. You're a pig. You hate women. But this is an issue to talk about, and it's like a lot of people don't want to hear it. I mean, simps don't want to hear it because they want to try and get some ass. Feminists don't want to hear it because that ruins, their narrative that women are oppressed and stuff like that. When there's women out here putting themselves in situations to get, putting themselves in situations, or they're not getting the help that they need to get therapy, so they don't end up seeking love in the wrong places. And this is something that is a huge problem in society. And not to mention, what makes matters worse is that you have politicians lobbying for sex workers to have the legal right to, be seen as a regular job, as a regular 9 to 5 woman who works a regular job with her clothes on. And this is like a real fight. It's a real battle for, sanity in this world. And it's sad to say that, the 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 feminist machine, the leftist agenda, really is trying to crush that. I mean, you got OnlyFans. Women are trying to say that this is work, this is a job, this is a career. It's not. I'm serious.
Brother, out there, I heard that shit. You get me? And here's my thing. Before you continue, it's like this. Okay, the government is slowly pushing back prostitution and making it slowly legal in every state. They're already starting to push back in New York. It's already legal in Nevada. So what we see in the next year or two, I would say a year best, we can go even two if nice, that they're going to legalize prostitution in America. And the reason why they're doing this, brother, is because, let's be honest, when you look at the stupid statistics and data, majority of you women don't got careers. All you got jobs. Once they change and go to sector and slowly move to automation, a whole bunch of the jobs, and it can continue going as years go by, that majority of women are going to be out of work. So what's the next second best thing you're going to see afloat? You're going to go to the sex underground or the sex underworld.
The underground economy.
You're going to turn to OnlyFans. Hell, you might even go to actual prostitution, selling your body. So, like I said, and if you know, it's because I'm not sure if you're traveled to Europe. I haven't traveled to Europe, but prostitution and legalization is normal. They got brothels in Europe, no problem.
Yeah, Amsterdam and stuff like that. It's legal because most of those European countries are pretty liberal.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing: there's a timetable for women in Europe that's in the brothels to be doing it. I remember there was a book called Kicked Out of Heaven, and they do an extensive section on the history of brothels. And I think in that same section, they give these same whores or these women a timetable. If you're teenagers and going on to roughly 30, they eventually going to make you have to stop what you're doing and going to have to push you to go find a man to marry. Now, mind you, in Europe, it's different because women, they carry themselves a certain way. You get me? That if you do all this fucking sucking, you might be able to get a man, throw you to the streets, and then you're going to get married eventually. But today's society, Hard Talk Radio, now you hear women, and if you listen carefully, man, they talk about they want to do this as a career.
It's like this is not a career. This is not something to be proud of. This is not something to tell your grandkids what you did. This is not something to, have your daughter want to say like, Daddy, I want. Do you know how much of a heartbreak that is? Do you know how depressing that is? How you failed as a father?
Bro, they just don't care.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Somebody said, I want to do what I want. I said, but you see, it shows you how much that you could do as much well as a father with your daughters. The only thing you could do to possibly prevent this, because you can prevent this now, is that you have to make a decision if you have children as a man that the social media cannot be a part of this household. You get me? Even though the friends you have, that might be different, but you cannot have the influence be spread further for your children's psyche. And one of the beautiful things about the smartphone and all these phones, that they have access to everything, including creating these little social media apps where you're getting attention from thousands of dudes across the world. And we talked about this constantly every time, that you people, you men, you simps, are keeping this market strong and alive. You giving boosts to the women that have fake bodies like BBLs, to the women that are overweight and fat and fake they got it, to even the women that doesn't got body. You validate them every time you like their pictures. Hell, hit their DMs if needed. And by doing this, you fill their heads up that said there are so many options. No, you got so many options to get F. Let's be clear on that.
Pretty much, but they think this is like having regular options as regular guys who work 9 to 5 jobs who won't submit to prostitution. They'll see a nice girl like, hey, and they want to be their friend and actually get to know them genuinely. They link that up to that, and it's not. Those men like women for who they are, contrast to simps and these Johns who like women just for the bodies.
Yeah. So to be real honest, that video that woman explained, I'm not sure how many hits she got on social media, but I guarantee you the men probably will respect it, but I guarantee little women are going to hit that up because they believe that they could have sex, do as much like a man, and there's no consequence. Yes, there is consequence. It's your mental sanity is a consequence. I'm going to say this and say this again. Your favorite YouTubers, females that you watch, if you listen to them and how they talk, articulate themselves, or how they carry on, and you listen to every conversation they have, you can tell right off the bat that these are damaged bitches.
Yeah, you can look at Sauce Ray. Look at Sauce Ray. Sauce Ray faked her own death.
Yes.
To get views.
Yeah. Yes.
And the things like this woman had a train run on her. She slept with a married man. Okay. Faked her death. All this crazy crap.
I heard she got OnlyFans too. You heard about that?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, maybe she has, but I do know about the fact that
she is turned to the internet in those same areas. I remember one post, but yeah, continue.
She dated this dude. No, she had sex with this dude at a swingers club and had a train run on her, and she tried to like get that man to want her to be his main chick, and he wasn't having that. I mean, Minister Jap was doing an interview with the dude. I forgot his name. I think his name was Chris something. I don't know, but he was doing an interview with him, and he's like, "Yeah, man, this chick. A lot of these women, they're damaged. Okay,
yeah,
you know, and it's not a. Is this something serious? Because some of these women became mothers." You know, and the men, and especially if it becomes a boy child will be filled with rage. Just like Sam Little, his mother was a young prostitute. She gave him up. That dude became a serial killer.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
Yeah. It's sad. I mean, but that's the root problem. That is the root problem. It's like, oh, man, it's the men. No. It's the fact that you women, it's like women are not getting treated for these issues, and they're going into, and you have an agenda to destroy women that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
To make them join this sex trade, which is destroying them. You got women in Britain right now, young college girls who can't pay their tuition, so they have to go to OnlyFans to pay their tuition.
Wow.
And they're going to have to go into prostitution because guess what? There's only so many times people are going to like photos of your feet or your breasts and stuff like that, because as they know about sex addiction, the dopamine rush is not the same as the first hit. It's like they say porn is stronger than crack cocaine addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that. Then they're gonna have to go into that, and that's gonna mess them up.
Yeah. And one thing, have you remember a movie back in the early '80s? Well, you weren't born at that time, but let's say this: Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Do you know what created Freddy Krueger?
Mm-hmm.
There was a scene of a nun woman. I think she was treating these sick bastards in the asylum, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, she was caught in a trap where they locked door, and it was like 30 of them.
Oh man,
and
I heard about that.
They had her way with her, and let's just say she got beat up sexually very bad, and she conceived, and she gave birth this man that came out as a predator, inflicting harm to children, and maybe some teenagers, but most people, young people, to the point when they found him, and that the people that found it was him, they set him ablaze. But before he was gonna meet his maker, the so-called ghost spirits took his soul to be a harbinger of the spiritual world for people's dreams, because people don't understand you are connected once you are sleeping, because you hear about this astral projection on this nonsense, that in the spirit world, the dream world, you're more connected to the underworld of the spirits. So that's where he seeks to kill you in your dreams. And once you die in your dreams, you actually die in the physical world. So, but the point is this: what created this man called Freddy Krueger was the act of when you have too many soul ties with men that have a certain bad behavior, bad spirits, and they leave a piece in you, not only in your vaginal womb, but in your brain, psychology. Because remember, the head and the womb or the penis are like the top root chakras. When you hear people say you're thinking with your penis or womb because it's connected.
Mm-hmm.
So every time that you take that, it's going not only in your private area as one, but it's going straight to your damn head.
Mm-hmm.
So people could sit there and women could believe it or not and think that this is no joke and that it doesn't affect them. You lie, because look how you carry yourself now. Hatred, your vitriol, your schizophrenia, your mental illness, where you had to go spend time with therapy and still be spending time with therapy for a long time. And I tell people many times, stop spending time longer. If they can't diagnose and give you some medication for the time being until you figure out some other natural ways and spiritual ways to deal with your problem, you should not be spending money at any therapist for over a year or two or more. Anything greater than a couple months, you waste your money because there has to be a treatment for your illness. Period. A man that's not treating you or giving you the necessary tools are taking your damn money. And trust me, brother, you hear some of them on certain calling shows talking about they've been with a therapist for more than 2, 3, 5 years. I heard one was near their therapist for nearly 7 years. I mean, what? Are you insane? That person's taking you to the bank.
It's mostly about money these days. That's the thing.
But let's be honest. It's on the rise right now because a lot of people are taking, not up, but just it's starting, taking their mental health a little seriously. I will say majority of the people that have mental illness, besides the men, these women out here are mentally ill because remember, they're going to carry your children, your babies. And if you're sick as a mother in the head-wise, you're unfit to be having children, especially in carrying like that. Because now your sickness psychologically is going to be inflicted on the child's, on the boys especially. Besides the girls going to have it worse because, mother's going to demand their daughters going to be independent, all this nonsense. But you're going to be damaged psychologically to your sons. So like I said, women going to have to be, this is why men sometimes say you have to have very much control over your head and your womb as a woman. There's no way around it. You can't sit there, keep letting this go by like it's nothing, because you're going to be in relationships with men, and men don't want to deal with your baggage mentally, and hell, even pair bond as well. So, like I said, besides the article, you can keep reading on. I'm looking at this article right now. It's so small, but go ahead. I'm trying to see what this you posted. What is it?
Yeah, I just read that part. I mean, the link's in the description. The thing is just what I've noticed is just that with these, all this agenda, coming to fruition, and with COVID taking away jobs, it's going to force women to possibly may even go into prostitution. That's the scary thing. That's something
it is scary. No, I tell people many times it's gonna be hard to find a decent woman out here today because let's be honest, a lot of women are exploring a whole lot of options, and some of the options they're exploring is not really that good, bro. You get me?
The thing is, it all depends on your money bracket too, because a lot of these women, they sometimes live in a fantasy, and they think they could pull these type of men, but some of them don't got the looks, some of them don't got the femininity.
Nope.
And a lot of them are just following this feminism to the grave.
And it's gonna be the downfall. It's gonna be the downfall because too many men are slowly pushing back now. And here's the sad thing, because I know you're a millennial like me, and like I said, conversations gonna still be had with certain millennials, but the Generation Z that's already somewhat adults now, or going to be adults, depending on what year they were born, that they're not going to even entertain this conversation. They're going to find women that it's going to be on their program, the males. And if they're not, they're going to easily kick them to the curb. They're not even going to put up with it. A lot of people say they're going to be simping for other racial groups of women, which is a possibility. But as young men are starting to find themselves and trying to find some purpose, they got a lot of channels to really get some little short game, which they're going to have to apply for their own betterment as they grow with their experience. And I'm saying that we're not going to repeat the same mistakes. If you're not going to do what I'm telling you to do or be on a certain program, if I lay out or what I expect from you, I'm just going to move on.
Well, the thing is with the simping thing, a lot of you have some men who think that, you're going to go to another ethnic group and you could be a simp there. You can't do that. Women don't like simps. Women, you can't be like saying, I'm going to just go simp over there or I'm going to do 50-50. You cannot do that with other cultures. You can't do that.
No.
And maybe that's the fact because I'm of West Indian descent. Maybe I could see things a little clearly that way.
That which part of West Indies?
Trinidad.
Okay, fine. Continue.
So I could see things like, no, that's not going to work, bro. If you come with that Pookie and Ray Ray crap, they're going to skin you alive.
Yeah.
They're not going to put up with that crap. They're not. Okay, look what's happening in Colombia. Women are like, drugging these men and stripping them bare, or they're getting killed over there. You have to come correct when you go into another ethnic group. It's just a matter of respect. That's it. This is how it is.
It's surprising you mentioned that part of the island. That the reason why a lot of dudes get caught up like that is because they're moving funny. You see, if you move funny in America and you don't get your way, don't expect you go over there because you have money. You're going to move differently over there. You guys still move smart, especially if you're going by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're in somebody else's backyard. You don't know the people. You don't know the culture well. You're not going to try to have your Pookie Rare experience with other groups of women on another soil. Trust me, like you said, that shit will not work.
Mm-hmm.
They will kill you. And they will leave your body somewhere where the government will not invest time of their taxpayer money if they're paying taxes to go find your body. You get me?
Yeah.
So like I said, my thing is this: men, as they get older, they gotta be wiser in how they move in the world. And if you're not moving wise enough, and let's say you want a family and you look for a mate and you can't find it here, regardless if the women are imported here already, or you had to go get one fresh off the tree, you still got to understand the terrain and the environment. You get me? And the culture enough. You should not be moving in different environments and trying to boost yourself because you have the United States dollar and it runs much further somewhere else. No.
They're gonna feel disrespected and feel like, oh, because you have money, you think you could disrespect me or disrespect. It's not gonna work. Yeah, no, that you're treating all the women like prostitutes. That is gonna go real bad quick.
And the saddest thing about that, because I'm not sure when last time you visited the islands like Trinidad, outside America, from South America or any of those West Indian islands, that there is a patriarchy still in force.
Yeah.
Exactly, but that means you can't just do what the fuck you want with certain people's women. You get me? Because a certain man, they have a certain proclivity to see that. And in America, you get killed if you're in the wrong place, wrong time, maybe around gang people, possibly. But over there, oh no, they will snap their fingers and cut you with no problem. You get me? They won't hesitate. They're not worried about no consequence. They just, they'll just do it. And trust me, I haven't really seen it personally, to be honest with you, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But like I said, let
me read this introduction. I'll read this introduction to the article. Detection of the Y chromosome DNA in women's vaginal tract is associated with the recent sexual activity and condom use with the male partner. Y chromosome DNA is present in the male epithelial cells and shed during sexual intercourse, and in Y chromosome carrying sperm cells. It may be detected in 87.100 of women the day after unprotected vaginal intercourse, may be detected in some cases up to 15 days later. Y chromosome DNA is rarely detected in women who have abstained from intercourse for more than 2 weeks or who consistently use condoms. Y chromosome DNA may be particularly useful biomarker in studies of human papillomavirus, HPV, infection and sexual transmission. Though most HPV transmission is thought to occur through discrimination of infected epithelial cells. HPV is also known to infect sperm cells. Biomarkers may be an interesting option where collecting self-reported data is impractical. Sexual behavior is difficult to capture and is subject to desirability bias, non-response, and faulty recall in self-reports. Many studies lack detailed sexual behavior data, either because they were not included in the questionnaire or due to secondary analysis of specimens collected for the purposes such as Pap tests. Some previous HPV infection studies have used infection with other sexually transmitted infections, STI, as biomarkers to help controls for risk. But these have their limitations, as most sexual encounters will not lead to STI acquisition. Prostate-specific antigen, another biomarker of semen exposure, has low usefulness for HPV and STI research due to its rapid decay. Y chromosome DNA has been studied as a biomarker for sexual intercourse, is most likely under highly controlled conditions where small samples of highly motivated women agreed to self-regulate their sexual activity according to experimental protocol, or where women are experimentally inseminated. However, data to access its association with sexual behaviors is observational settings still lacking, and is still unclear to what extent experimental data is generalizable to observational populations. In this study, our objective was to ascertain whether Y chromosome DNA positivity and quantity are associated with self-reported sexual behavior, and to identify which behaviors are independent predicators of Y chromosome DNA positivity and quantity in an observational setting. But basically, it's the fact that women, having a lot of partners, it goes into their DNA, the man's Y chromosomes. And that is the basically the reason why women, having too much of a body count, having too many partners can affect a woman's psyche.
Can I say one thing before you continue?
Yeah.
Now, mind you, how many women that does content on YouTube, especially, have really revealed that? Have you know any? I don't remember any
women that have admitted to what
No,
being
they have really read this particular article, because they always go through, what's that, the CDC? I'm not sure what study this is. Matter of fact, let me click onto it to find the date. But this study, right, in the description. Let me see if this is. It's in the description. No, it's not in the description. You might have to put in the chat room, because I don't see
I got the link from what I got from the TikTok, the one on the TikTok video. I'm about to share it right now. Hold on 1 minute.
Yeah. Let's be fair and honest. Women not gonna really look at the consequence of having promiscuous sex. And a lot of will say in their mind that, well, they're not exchanging up because there's no fluid exchange because a man has the condom. No, you're still exchanging some form of energy. Do not be fooled. You get me? Else people having raw sex out here. Sex is exchange. Period. Whether you taking the birth control or the man's putting on a condom, you're exchanging something. And there's a little study that people never really notice. People said condoms are like 98% accurate. You know what I'm saying? No,
99% effective. They're 99% effective, but you still got that 1%.
No, it's actually 87%.
87.
So and remember, you got to understand, they poke holes when they make the thing to give it air. There is a hole poke in it. That's why they have the fluid, the gel to kill the spermicide.
The KY, yeah.
Yeah, it's designed because they poke a hole in every condom because they had to give it some air. So that once you put it in, it's not suffocating the whole phallus. So it's like a little tiny hole in there. So the spermicide, the minute you ejaculate, the spermicide is going to catch it and kill the sperm. Follow? And I got this from another guy that I talked to. And a lot of people say, what? That's like, no, it is. Because if you look at the manufacturer, how they design condoms, no matter what material, they have to poke holes in them. So what's the best way to prevent something called conception? Even better, you have to create what we call gel to kill the sperm. Because you're going to bust, no matter you have a big or using any form of condom. So once you ejaculate in her with the condom, it's killing those sperm cells automatically. So the minute it gets whatever you get a little partial out of 8% effectiveness. It does not reach the womb. It dies right off the spot. So that's the info to people that didn't know about that. You get me? So when they talk about spreading a disease, why condoms do not prevent it, because of that percentage. Either if it's in the 90s or roughly touch 90, there's still greater risk because they poke holes in these condoms.
Crazy. Well, I got the article right now, so I'm gonna read it right now. Okay, so there's a biological phenomenon in which women absorbs and then harbors her entire life a significant number of cells that have originated in a different individual, other than 23 chromosomes of genetic material from biological parent, which created her as an embryo of the conception. This hosting of foreign genetic material takes up residence in almost every tissue of a female's body. Most significantly with the brain is a perpetually 93,000-year-old biological defense mechanism known as the microchimerism. Microchimerism is defined as the occurrence of cells that originate from other individuals and therefore genetically distinct from the cells of the host. There are 4 different ways that can happen naturally, i.e. without medical procedures such as blood transfusions, organ transplants, etc. 1, an abortion, whether chemical, spontaneous, or induced. 2, a male twin that vanished. 3, an older brother transferred by maternal circulation. And 4, sexual intercourse. What this basically testifies is that women are chimeras, as unlike men who are made up of genetic material from only their mothers and fathers, women are designed to be sponges of genetic material from anyone. Pregnancy with a male child is the most popularly talked about way that explains why a woman has foreign male DNA in her body. From conception until birth, cells travel back and forth from the mother and the fetus via the placenta and vice versa. From a cellular standpoint, it goes without needing such explanation that this will result in the mother retaining DNA from her son or daughter, but for the sake of this article, we will focus on the Y DNA. What this infers is that the child is not only one who is receiving the DNA, but the mother is being imprinted by foreign DNA from the fetus. Yes, a fetus is a foreign body to a pregnant woman. You can love your growing baby with all your heart, but the body will see it as a foreign body, even a parasite. That is true. Research into the male microchimerism has concluded that as much as 10% of the free-floating DNA in the mother's bloodstream comes from the fetus, and much of it remains in her cells for the rest of her life. It's important to note that while full-term pregnancy will result in the mother having a longer opportunity to harbor more cells from her child, the fetal cells from a miscarriage or an induced abortion will still leave a genetic imprint on the mother, not just as full-fledged of the impact. Almost most of the cells disappear precipitously as time passes after the incident, especially in the case of a chemical abortion, an unknown miscarriage within 5 weeks of pregnancy, up to any abortion, spontaneous or induced, up to 8 weeks. Many scientists, as far back as 1830, have racked their brains in trying to figure it out. Why? What is the purpose of the microchimerism in a female? I'll read this. All right. Okay. Didn't want to bore people with this. All right. Microchimerism is an ancient defense mechanism that augments a woman's ability to fight microorganisms, both viruses and bacteria, helps to prevent cancer and infections, and it leads to super regenerative properties to her tissues, as seen with the shortened than expected recovery after childbirth and even in C-sections. They also add strength to her mental strength, in which she should expand her perceptions and reasoning faculties to that of her male partner in times of peril, although this will only be true in cases of women who mate with domineering, powerful warrior-like men or alpha males. A less dominant and capable man will leave his imprint on a woman post-coitus, although in a detrimental way in which she will develop his beta, omega, and so forth style of thinking. Within the perplexing super specialty field of autoimmunology, much controversy has been arisen. A research in deliberately suppressed to conceal the scientific data, which proves that women will inevitably absorb the DNA from every man with whom she has sexual intercourse, and that check this out though. Let me read that again. With the perplexing super specialty field of autoimmunology, much controversy has arisen as research in deliberately suppressed to conceal the scientific data, which proves that women will inevitably absorb the DNA from every man with whom she has sexual intercourse, and that the overload of such foreign genetic information from multiple partners is met with autoimmune response that results in an unexplained illness such as Graves' disease, lupus, multiple sclerosis, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, certain cancers, and many other lesser-known neurological degenerative conditions. So, women having sex with multiple partners can lead to this breaking down of her autoimmune system. And they're suppressing this. Science, the medical industry is suppressing this.
Bro, I know you got these links. Go, continue.
I'm gonna keep going. It was nice knowing you, Chaos. It was nice knowing you, man. If I lose my channel.
No, listen. Here, before you continue, listen. I tell you many times, if you notice, when I do my streams, I put in the description all the links. Now, check you didn't put the links to this. I think it's of necessity you do this because this takes a lot of time and energy. And you don't want people
the thing is like I struggled to find the source for this woman, what this woman was saying.
Okay.
And I couldn't get it. And then I finally got it on her TikTok. I finally seen it. All right, fine. I got it now. So I could put it up there.
Yeah, put all links you read, even that, so when people have reference, because my thing is this: anytime people are watching these channels and they say, "Where's the evidence?" I don't see the reference. No, there's a link. Click that, read that, so you don't say I did not tell you. You get me? Because I don't want to shoot off the lip and just have it up there on display. Either they can read this or not. I actually show you the link because let me tell you something how this community works, bro. People want to sit there and get a chance to read the evidence. They're gonna waste their time. If they see this, they're gonna say, "Well, I can't find it, so it's not valid." No, don't worry about that, baby. I got you. You get me? Because they damn sure don't put up their evidence on the average. You get me? They'll put no links. So man, we gotta be thorough, bro. We gotta be thorough. We gotta show receipts. Because let me tell you something about women. They gaslight a lot when they pull out bullshit information. And I'll go even further. I remember there was a segment by a particular content creator. And I remember 2 content creators covered this man's book called what's the name of the book? Oh, here it is. Black Skin, White Mask, France Fauna. This book came out 50 years ago. Actually, it came out almost 60 years ago, if I could be right. And they're talking about the sexual activities of men and women, especially when it comes to swirling, right? And then because he has a PhD in psychiatry, he looked in the analysis of both how when Black women engage in interracial relationship with non-Black men and Black men engage in non-relationships with non-Black women, that there's a certain mindset how we operate when we're in these relationships. Now I can't go into detail. It's a good book if anybody could get it.
Right. But, let me just finish reading this up. All right. This damaging form of microchimerism results from the flow of genetic material that is carried by a man's sperm. After ejaculation during sexual intercourse, sperm breaks the blood barrier of the uterus and meanders up the brain, where it finds its way into the nuclei or the neurons. The neurons are then subject to a process known as genetic recombination, in which the cells are forever altered and forever the genetic material being carried by the sperm means that is permanent. It don't change. To simplify this, as well as strongly reiterate, is that this means that a woman will become an amalgamation of every man with whom she has sexual intercourse. A woman will begin to develop the traits and characteristics of both physically and mentally of the man that have ejaculated in her, and she then inevitably passes these imprints onto her children. In the case of the husband whom she loves, this is the very endearing and romantic concept which is considered divine union in ancient texts. For example, this instruction, evidence, or warning is repeated 4 times in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the Tanakh, and the New Testament alike. Genesis chapter 2, verses 24, Matthew chapter 19, verse 5, Mark chapter 10, verse 8, and Psalms chapter 5, verse 31, all ring the same sacred truth verbatim that we need to pay attention to. For this reason, a man shall forever leave his mother and father and forever be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. It doesn't make sex marriage, but the thing is, like, the framework, the blueprint, it's supposed to be for marriage. And this is the problems we go through when it's done out of order. That's what I'm getting. While this is powerfully enduring rule from our Creator, inspiring a deeper love and ever-growing affection within every act of sexual intercourse between a man and his wife, what does that mean for women and her children who have had even just more than one partner? Whether a woman is a virgin or not truly does have an impact on the future children's physical traits. In animals, it is noted that while breeding, the first stud used should be the one and only for the future inseminations. Otherwise, subsequent offspring with a new study will not be nearly as well built or mentally sharp. If a woman paid attention to the animal kingdom and registered how important maintaining virginity until marriage was genetically, the discipline to remain respectful to herself, her future husband, and the offspring she has with them would come very easily. Not only does present-day society suppress scientific research that a woman retains the DNA of every man she has sex with, but it is clearly and explicitly written in almost every ancient religious book. Whether or not the reader are religious or has no bearing on the fact that religious texts carry many hidden truths within them, even for the religious devout, please do not only see these texts as religious. One needs to accept these scriptures as human testaments to experiences, guides, so to speak. Although many who are highly educated scoff in their advanced scholarship at the absurdity taking anything from these books that are words of illiterate men from 2,000 years ago. And then there are those who are overzealous at taking these scriptures as over literal and are blinded to the real life metaphors contained within. We all need to compromise by setting aside credentials and creed and instead concede to the plausibility that these ancient words surpass both academia and religion and need to be considered from every angle. That's deep. This is a reason, and very good one, that as to why women must preserve her virginity for her man she marries, as well as only marrying marrying his brothers if her husband were to die young. Ugh. I don't know about that. Microrism, that's basically saying, like, she has a husband, right? And her husband dies, then the husband's brother is up to marry her. Sounds like force to me. Microchirism is very real, and even one precious sexual partner will leave his imprint in a woman's brain, as well as in her future offspring with her husband. While the husband's sperm is fertilizing the egg with his DNA, the genetic imprint left behind from the sperm from his wife's previous partners have permeated into her bloodstream, into the brain, and into the coding of the said husband's children, making small but very noticeable alterations in the children. This is what are your thoughts?
That said a lot, bro. It said a lot.
I mean, scientists are negating this truth. It was very hard to find information on this. Very, very hard.
Well, it's not hard. It's there in the net. Is you have to search hard, and someone has to, like, bring out the information for other media outlets to make it easier for the algorithm in Google to match it. My thing is this, that they knew this for some time now, for a long time. But the reason why this information is really considered suppressed is because we're living a time now of the modern era of people, especially women. Women have the luxury to jiggle as much cocks as they can, and in time they could sit there and find a suitable mate to marry and have kids. But as we know, as time progresses, there are mental issues going around having multiple partners, regardless if you're single or not. Hell, I remember I think there was one woman in Chicago, one they called Miss G, right? KG. And she talks about she freezing her eggs. And let me tell you something. My thing with any woman after the age of 35, when they go on that route, freezing the eggs, it tells me that they are looking for perfection. So in the search of perfection, they could be fucking sucking any man that might please their fancy until that one man that fits their marker, not imprint, marker, they will gladly accept. And my thing is this: you do not control marriage. You could control maybe when you have a kid, if you have sex with a dude, if you lie or not, you could probably control that because you control access of your body. That you in this time as woman, the best chance you get is to get it as young as possible and to make life with that man or that set man. You should not be out here on the streets. Like Kevin said, told these ladies constantly, if you have kids by this man, you work it out. Unless it's like serious abuse where he's constantly beating you in the head, even possibly of maybe killing you, that's when the plug should be pulled. But as we have a more clear understanding, bro, that's not the case with the average woman today in society. They're walking away because they get bored, they're tired. Hell, someone said they don't like that the man has the liberty to explore his options with other women, which really to me is stupid. You should not break up. If you have children, you better work it out. As long as he's still able to do what he does at home, you and him better have the discussion about that. You get me? But other than that, most of that divorce is always reconcile differences. You know what I'm saying?
And which is just BS, really.
It's BS. It's BS if you think about it. And this study you show right here shows that if you, which right now the average woman falls in this category, because I'll be honest with you, the women that have never really had sex and they're really honest about that, your best bet, if you over the age 25, you still a virgin as a woman, you better off going to find a church, a respectful church, not these mega churches, these pastors that's trying to sleep with you.
Right.
That you trust to find another man that's on the grind, that's doing what he's supposed to do. And you make life with him and carry on. That's your only safety net in this climax, in this environment. But overall, bro, a lot of women today, bro, are not virgins. Now, a lot of women who are going to argue with this might say something in the comment section. But let's be honest. Which woman you think right now, over the age of almost touching 16, is still not having got a sexual experience yet?
Well, the thing is, it depends. I mean, if they're raised in culturally strict homes, they're raised in religiously strict cultural homes, and they take their faith seriously, and they take their, they're not playing that. The daughter has the fear of the father in the home.
Exactly. And it goes back in. There's very little men in these households playing a role in their children's lives to put the order, correct?
Well, yeah.
I mean, look at T.I. Look at T.I. His daughter, how old is she now? She turned 20 this year, right? He said, if you could hold out and not lose your virginity before 21, I will award you money. Now, that's a deal between him and his father, right? Now, not most men are going to make that deal with their own daughters, but the point is this, that he said the best you could do to put yourself in the best position out here is to hold out as best as possible. Do not play with yourself. Or I doubt it. If you never got sex, you don't have to worry about those urge on the average, just on the average. But if you're okay by 16 to over 20, you have not lose yet, you're in a good spot for now. But you should not wait longer. You want to get it now while it's still hot. So before you touch around 30, you should be finding a mate that's going to marry. Which a lot of men, let's be honest. Let's be fair honest. There's still men out here in America that still want to get married. Can we agree?
Yeah, I mean, still men want to get married. Still men.
And we talk good and bad about marriage, right? In a lot of these spaces, right?
Yeah. Correct? The problem is like what I see sometimes. You have a lot of red pill McTominay and just bashing marriage to the ground. I mean, it's still a good thing. There's still a building block of society. It's just the fact that it's just you have to be really careful nowadays to vet these women, and sex has to be put off on the back burner. That's going to be hard because you live in a very sexual driven world, and it's going to take a lot of effort on the man's part. All right, I can't date these women who are thotties. I can't date women who wear these mini skirts. I got to date women that, have respect for themselves. And I have to put talking with my head instead of my small head first. Like find out what she likes, what she wants to do, what she what is her hobbies? Is she conservative? Is she liberal? What is her mentality towards kids? What is her mentality towards having a man's last name in marriage? Stuff like that. And it's going to be tough because it's going to take a lot of strength, but it's also going to take a lot. I mean, finding a better job where you can find those type of women, changing your association with women, it's a lot. I mean, it may even take going to a different country and just staying there and just settling down. It may take that. At the same time, that it's a serious commitment, Oh yeah, let me read this one part here. Okay. There is our principles from ascended masters through the ages who gifted us with written instructions that help to point out our moral compass in the right direction regarding sexual intercourse. Sexual energy is severely karmatic and is only to be used by married couples to incarnate with the divine and become united as one with God using this holy power as the seal. Nobody goes unpunished from any of their past hookups. You, and especially your children, absolutely will suffer the consequences of your lack of discipline and respect for yourself and your future family. Next time you think about having sex outside of marriage, ask yourself this. 1, how many men have stuck their penis in the same hole you're about to? Oh God. 2, how many times has she woken up to a stranger? 3, given that 90% of North Americans carry HPV, do you really think she's going to be a 10%er? 4, how much time in her lifetime has she wasted worried about a late period? 5, if you were to marry this girl, are you 100% sure that your biological children will be 100% made up of your DNA? If not, can you deal with the fact that your children will be made up of a concoction of strange men's DNA who your partner had sex with? Wow.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping that when this concludes, you put the links in the description. I need to further read this for my own understanding because that's how I'm at.
It's called, what's it called? Hold on one second. It's called askmarissa.com. All right, I'm going to just end the stream and I'll put it in the description box.
Yeah, that and the other study, the clinical study as well. So for people to get it more grips, because we had there were receipts at the end of the day, and let's be honest, most women content creators don't put receipts. And I watched a couple of them, and I have not seen much in the description. These receipts, they let you just tell you it. They might put in a chat room, but overall, this has to be where people could go back and read it for themselves. The dates, when it posted, all that. So yeah. But yeah, you can cut the stream. I do want to talk to you on stream then, but yeah.
Cool.
But like
Hold
I
on
said,
1 minute. Let me just tell the people on Bigolive because I'm on Bigolive. Okay, so if you want to know, you could go on askmarissa.com, askmarissa.com, and you can find the information where I got this. Okay. And check me out on Hard Talk Radio, YouTube. And that's about it. Okay, cutting the stream now. All right.